nobody from what you might call the children or the mother's side proper. Grandparents not allowed in. So, and I wasn't allowed.
Are you allowed in?
No, I just tried to get in, but I'm going to say about that. But anyway, it's about this sort of the narrative of what goes on now in this campaign outside, because we're going to kick off this campaign now. Up till now, because I've been Mackenzie Friend, I haven't actually I haven't been able to do very much public campaigning, because the moment I start public campaigning, I get kicked out of the court. Well, today I've been kicked out of the court anyway, so that's it. I'm not going to, hold back from now on. I mean, this is why I didn't call a huge rally this morning. I could have called lots of people. I knew you'd come up trumps, and I knew that my regulars would come up trumps, but I could have got loads of people more, but because of being under the gag and the court, I didn't really feel I could. But now the gloves are off. And what we're going to try and do as this unfolds, because this case is going to go on for 3 weeks, and we won't be here every day, but we might be doing other things. We might be down somewhere else or outside, Parliament or, wherever we might be. Talking to other people who might be concerned about this, or maybe we'll do a little demonstration outside Barnet Council or something like this. Anyway, it'll be an ongoing thing, a sort of narrative, so that the public, who are already very alert to this case, with hundreds of thousands of people checking the children's videos, they will want something to bite on. They won't be able to hear what's being discussed in there, and we can just imagine what's being discussed in there, because it's already completely skewed and rigged, the whole thing, against the mother and against the children. The outcome, I mean, I can almost write it now today. I don't know why they bother to go through the motions. They're going to try, if the mother comes back, she's going to be locked up. If the children are already locked up, they're not going to be let out. The school is not going to be investigated, and the other schools. Even if there's some token investigation of the schools, nothing will be found, because by now they'll have gone in over half term, they'll have cleaned out all the cupboards and lockers and spots of this and that on the floor, and sanitised and disinfected the whole place. There'll be no evidence whatsoever, and the whole thing will then, they think, die a death, right? And the children will have just had a sort of fantasy, and that's it. It's just beginning, and it's an opportunity, because this is very widespread. The children have said that it's not just one school, but it's several schools. In fact, in one of the videos, which, if you get on my mailing list, I'll make sure that you get all the sort of the hot stuff. You'll get the videos every day. You'll get when we bring them out, you'll get all the best sites to go to and things.
What is your...
If anybody wants to put their name on my mailing list, I will keep them updated, because I don't even do things by Facebook and Twitter so much, because I like things to circulate a little bit quietly. So nobody knows. There's too much bickering and fighting on Facebook, and people sort of taking sides and having a pop at each other. On email, you can just send information quietly in a civilized manner and get it across to people, and that's it. It's Tuesday the 17th of February, first day of spring, as everybody can see. Beautiful day. And I feel that heaven is smiling on our endeavours here. And what we're trying to do here, whether in the court or outside the court, is get justice in a very serious case. And as usual, because those are the sorts of cases that I'm concerned with chiefly, it's a case of abuse of children. And the abuse is in the form of the children being removed from their parents, which is what usually happens. So they're suffering emotional abuse from having been removed from their parents, and also some very loving grandparents in this case. And they've suffered abuse all their lives, as they report in their own words, from their father and a group of his friends. And the abuse has happened not at home, where they've been living with their mother, but actually in the school, where they've been supposedly being educated. And this is the really shocking aspect of this case. And it came to light last summer. I can't speak too much about the details of the case because it's in the court inside here at the moment. But as it's now public on the internet, I can just paint the outlines of the case. And the chronology is that last summer, a 9-year-old girl and an 8-year-old boy told their mother and their mother's friend that they'd been abused by their father and a group of his friends for the whole of their childhood, virtually. And they described their abuse in very, very graphic detail. And it concerned the school that they were educated at, being educated at, the primary school. It also concerned the local church next to the school, concerned members of several other schools, and there were a lot of people involved. And it was all, the content was extremely shocking. So when the mother heard all of this, her natural response was she must try to get the case investigated by the relevant authorities, the police. And so the police picked up on it, they did interviews of the children, and then the local authority intervened and took the children into care. And it does seem that if you approach the authorities with problems with your children, or the fact that your children are suffering from abuse or anything wrong is going on in the family, the consequence could be that the children will be taken away from you. So this is the first point to get across to everybody. So the children were then in care. They did further interviews to the police a few days later and retracted everything that they said. Well, not everything. They didn't retract it all because there was too much to retract. But they then started accusing the friend of their mother as having been an abuser.
Frightened and agitated.
Very frightened.
Very frightened and agitated.
Can I tell you something?
You can tell me anything you like, Deanne.
And you listen to me carefully. Our words have power. And when we speak, the only thing we have to do is just to say we don't agree with this. And so when you speak words, you say things like, I just heard you said, if they want to take me, they can take me. So you are agreeing.
That's correct.
So you don't say this because words have power.
Absolutely.
You don't agree for them taking you.
I do.
If they want to,
You do agree?
No, you require them
I want
to do
them.
what they need to
I
do.
want them to take me.
Requirement is different.
Because
to
that way we
asking
will
them.
raise the profile of the case.
Yeah, requirement is
Diana.
making them do
stay
something.
outside.
But you
Once
have rights.
they get you steal your voice outside, you have a voice. Once you're inside,
I
you lose
have
the
voice.
voice.
I have voice
Now
inside.
you're
In the
gonna-
jail, I have a big voice. My voice is louder in the
Still,
jail.
you don't agree with them to take you. It's because it's not right, right?
Okay.
These kids are taken, that's not right.
Yeah, it's not right.
So them taking you, it's just not right. You going inside without the legal advice is not right. So just follow what doesn't feel right. So just pay attention to the words that you say. When you speak about this, it's just like, not agreeing. Just not agreeing. And that's the whole, words really have power. It's just so simple. Just say, I don't agree. I'm just here to say, I'm not angry. I don't have any kind of resentment, whatever. I just say this, I don't agree with this. This reality just doesn't work for me anymore, and it has to stop. And it is going to stop. That's all. I just have to say it. And if so many people just say it, it's going to start to change. Just people make a stand to say, I don't agree with this. I know it's going on, that but it's not fine. It's not okay with me. I just don't agree with this. Yeah.
Absolutely, well said. Thank you. This is the message that needs to be passed to the public. Because that's what they would say to us. They don't agree with it. They don't agree that children are taken away when they try to get help for being abused. They don't agree with their mothers, who are completely innocent, being nearly arrested. In fact, this mother has managed to escape in this case. But
I'm going to write this in a bigger one tomorrow.
yeah. Yes, okay. You think you're so smart because you've got smartphone, YouTube for me, save the children, sign the fucking petition, look at me, the power of one. Excellent.
You see?
Yeah.
Because people think I'm just one, and what can I do? Well, you're one who has a voice. If everybody who is one gives a voice, then this petition goes from 7,200 to 500,000.
Yeah.
If everybody understands, this one is a power, and take your power, and just voice it's not okay, and you don't agree with it. That's all you need to do. And our strength is in numbers. The system is all corrupted, but people who are waking up, the more we are, the more people wake up, the more power we have, and we have to stand united.
Basically, in this case, we have got about to the lowest point of the degradation of human beings and the most degrading, disgusting bestial behaviour possibly imaginable has been manifest in this case. So it's the bottom line. This is out and out Satanism that we're dealing with here. And what the public have to now make the choice is, do they wish to live in a satanic system, basically, where a whole courtroom that I've just been in was supporting the head of this cult, who's the father in the case. They're all in there supporting him, while the mother will be under arrest if she comes back to this country. Does the public accept that? And I think they would say, like this lovely lady, what's it? Diana. She would say, we don't agree. We don't agree with this. We don't agree with the children being taken away. We don't agree with the mother being subjected or threatened with arrest. We don't agree with people not being able to go in the courtroom, such as myself this morning, trying to go in to see fair play on behalf of the mother as her Mackenzie friend. And the judge has already allowed me in 3 times, so why didn't she want me in this time? She started to say there was something in her rule book that somebody has to be with me. To be a Mackenzie friend, you have to have actually the person that you're the friend of next to you. But I still think she could allow me to speak. She can decide what she wants to do in her own courtroom. These judges have discretion. There's no need to bring the rule book into it, because they all do different things in those courts. So I wasn't very impressed with her reason for wanting me out, but she obviously did. But now there's nobody in there at all. Even the pressman who came initially, he said he can't really follow what's going on and has gone off. So there's nobody. It's like a, I don't know really, it's like a witch's coven in there, frankly. I felt as though I was in a witch's coven. Everybody is supporting the leader of this cult. It is a cult. We've seen the children's drawings here. We've seen their videos describing what activities go on in these sessions that they have, in these paedophile sessions and in these ritual abuse sessions. The children we've now got some drawings of the children that they've done of their teachers, showing all sorts of strange tattoos on these ladies and gentlemen's bodies. And these are circulating on the street now. The public, when they see this, and they watch this case as it's going to develop day after day, you know, we're just on day 1 of the fact-finding hearing. Well, every day something new happens, which makes you think there's something not at all right nor just in this case. So last week we had the mother being arrested. We had her other Mackenzie friend being told by John Hemming's office, somebody in John Hemming's office told my friend, the other Mackenzie friend who's been supporting the mother in this case, that she'd better watch her back because something very bad is going to happen. And so she very sensibly left the jurisdiction. And it was just as well she did, because the next day after she left, there was an attempt to arrest the mother. And these two are definitely the people that this father, in this case, says are harassing him. And the judge is cross that one of them, she believes, has put stuff out on the internet. You can't trace where all these materials have come from that are on the internet, because there's so many people who've had access to the materials over several months. If they wanted to keep the lid on this, they should have stopped it back in September by putting an injunction on it then, or preferably by doing a proper investigation. That's really what should have happened. The fact that they've left it festering away by itself for so long is what's got into this situation today, where the stuff is all over the internet. All sorts of evidence is still available, and the case in the family court, such as it is just going to go nowhere, because there's no real argument. It's just going to be the judge listening to the local officials as to what they want to happen, and just agreeing with them and letting that happen. And that's what's happened so far, because the first hearing, everything was agreed, and the second hearing and third hearing. So I lost confidence that there was going to be fair play in this case. So I'm actually rather happy not to be in there. I don't like the atmosphere in there one bit. I'm much happier to be outside on the street talking to normal people. Thank you. It's now 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and since I was evicted from the proceedings this morning, after going in to try to represent the mother in her absence as her Mackenzie friend, as I've already done 3 times in these proceedings, we've been thinking what to do, because the judge basically said that I couldn't be the Mackenzie friend of somebody who physically wasn't in the courtroom, which I hadn't really taken on board. So obviously it changes slightly the order of play at this stage from our side, in that we now have had to find a barrister, because he would have, or she would have, the status to represent the mother without her being present. Why isn't she present? Well, this is due to the fact that, as I told the judge, she has been subjected to severe harassment. She's had people hanging around her house for the last few weeks, watching her every move from across the road, watching every comings and goings of anybody in and out of the house. It's felt quite oppressive and quite threatening. She, for her part, is being charged with harassing her ex-partner, the father of her children, and he is under suspicion of having been their major abuser all these years, of having abused them. So the question is, who is harassing who here? He appears to have been harassing his children. She is accused of harassing him, and his friends, whoever they are, some shadowy people. They look like, at some point they looked like policemen, but they didn't really seem to be policemen because they were in plain clothes. His friends have been harassing her. Things went critical last Thursday because the harassment turned into a full-blown attempted arrest at her home, which is why she fled. In fact, she was lucky on that occasion because she had a barrister who might have represented her today, but in fact he's a corporate lawyer, and not he felt not that he couldn't really cope competently with a full-blown family proceedings. This is quite a big case. This is a 3-week fact-finding hearing in the family court. So quite wisely he said, "You'd better find somebody else." And that was the moment when we hadn't found somebody else yesterday, Monday, that I took on the possibility or would attempt to come in as her Mackenzie friend in the absence of anybody else more qualified. Anyway, we now have what we believe is a family law barrister lined up who's around the corner, and I'm going round to his chambers to speak with him and see if we can somehow, I can brief him, and then we can get her long distance to sign the agreement and get things sort of sorted out for tomorrow. It's too late to do anything today, obviously. And what we hope he will be willing to try and do for us is to get this case stopped, basically. The reason being that it's not been a level playing field all the way through. It's totally, obviously needs a different sort of court to deal with it. It's not something that should be in the family court. The children shouldn't have been taken. What should have happened last September, when this whole family court proceeding started, was that the children's allegations should have been taken seriously, and there should have been a police investigation. In fact, there was a police investigation of sorts, because the police came and took videos from the children and statements, very long and very graphic and detailed statements, similar to the home videos that were taken by the mother and her partner while on holiday last August, a few weeks earlier. And the children said exactly the same thing on the first film that they gave to the police, the first video, as they'd said to their mother and her friend a few weeks earlier on holiday. And the home videos, unfortunately or fortunately, we don't know whether it's going to be fortunate or unfortunate at this stage, but it certainly raises things to a new level. The home videos have been circulating online for now some 2 weeks, which of course is looked upon with great disapproval by the judge and no doubt the local authority officials. But you can't have such inflammatory material being discreetly circulated, leaked here or there, or given privately, quietly to various people, as has been happening over the last few months. And I myself was privy to the material before they became public and they were leaked. you can't have this happening over and over again, and including certain people in Russia, because the mother is Russian, so some of this stuff has gone to Russian hands as well. They're already been sort of percolating around online, and so it was really almost an inevitable thing to happen, that they would find themselves, that they would find their way fully online and end up on YouTube and be circulating in all directions, which is what's been happening. So in this situation, we believe that obviously the pressure on the authorities at this stage, with so much of this negative information circulating, and so many people that I have come into contact with and have been communicating on Facebook and Twittering and tweeting and all the rest of it, the opinion massively is that this should be a criminal investigation. This should not be in the family court at all. And certainly the case against the mother for harassment is completely unfounded. She has not done anything to put this material online. This has been done rather against her will. She was not happy that the children's faces were not blanked out or blurred in some way. The videos have just gone out exactly as they are. In fact, in my opinion, these children are very brave, and I think the whole family realise they've got a special public role to play. And so I think it will come good in the end, because the children are really quite heroic. The public, I think, feel that these children to be exceptionally brave and heroic and articulate, and they're going to help a lot of other children. Because what really should happen is that this ring, as it seems to be, this group of people who've been with their father abusing these two children and other children all these years, should be exposed, should be investigated. There's not only the video evidence, there's a whole lot of other evidence which is yet to be revealed, which will make it very, very certain and irrefutable that these children have been abused, that these people who are abusing them have been abusing other children in a very horrible way and a very macabre way, and that they should be prosecuted and they should be brought in front of a court, not a family court, but a criminal court. And this is really what should happen as soon as possible. And what really should happen first of all is for the local authority to release these children and allow them to go home with their beautiful Russian grandparents. The grandparents who can offer them a very happy, stable, loving home and a wonderful life and very good education in Russia, which is where their mother was educated, in the same school as their mother and her sister, brought up by these lovely grandparents. Both achieved A grades and went on to Moscow University. So the intellectual level of the family is quite good, and also they run a media and creative arts business, architectural business. The children will have every opportunity possible to develop in all sorts of different ways that they want to, and complete freedom. And apart from anything else, after all this trauma that they've suffered in their early years in this country at the hands of this horrible group of people doing their ghastly, grotesque, macabre stuff to the children, painful as well and frightening at some points, and ludicrous if it weren't so very serious as well. There's certainly a ludicrous element in this. But in Russia, these children could really recover. They could get right away. They wouldn't be in the limelight or in the eye of publicity, or wouldn't be recognized on the streets over there. And they could start to rebuild their life, recoup what remains of their childhood. And this is what should happen first of all. And this is why we're here, because we're going to be taking this more and more to the public. We believe we will have, the British public will be on our side in the pressure and the push to try and get this case properly sorted out. Thank you.